Hey guys, Kev here, and I'm going to do an overview of the Jason Grant Tripper. So, this is going to be a little bit old school, guys. We're going to do this one in the truck. Why? Why, Kev? We love the desktop. We don't have to look at your ugly Amish mug, and we get to see the knife way more. That is correct. But, as a content creator, knife reviewer guy, doing the same exact thing over and over can be a little bit tedious sometimes, and switching it up helps. That's why I like to do some unboxings in the truck. I like to do EDC updates in the truck. I like to do live streams with the face cam, right? And I don't know, this one feels like a throwback to me. I really like this knife. I really like Jason over at Brass Brigade, and I don't know, just felt like the right thing to do at this moment in time. So that's why we're doing it like this. So hopefully you don't mind. I did do an unboxing, I believe. I don't know, I might not have posted the unboxing because I was rushing out the door, so we'll see. But this is the Tripper, guys, and this is a really cool piece from Jason. So, as you may all know, his first release was the Grant Gripper, or the Brass Brigade Gripper. I don't know what the names are anymore of his company or the knives, but I know this one's called the Tripper. The first part I'm not sure of. Brass Brigade is what I'm going with. And the first one, the Gripper, was cool. It was a Warney. I love Warneys. It had, you know, all three deployment methods like this. But it was big. I had one, and I really liked it. It was really well made. Best Tech did a wonderful job on it. I believe they were 20 CV. They were 320 bones, or 350 after pre-order, I forget. And fantastic knife. I really liked that knife. In fact, I loved that knife. But it was too big. I just never carried it after the review because it's listed at 3.5 inches, but that month is 3.75. Get out of here with your 3.5 inch. That's an 8.5 inch knife. You know what I mean? At least that's what I took out of it, because I have knives that are 3.5 and it felt bigger than that, which is fine. A lot of people love that. I don't personally carry knives that big, so I ended up selling it. But the model's fantastic. Recommend the shit out of it, right? So I figured the next model would probably just be another model that's really big, right? And I'd seen this knife, but you can't really tell size from a picture. You know, you have an idea in your head, and that's what you roll with, right? So I assumed this was 3.5 inch blade. Well, this guy's like 3 inches. I mean, this knife is not large. Here, let me compare it to my no, I'm just kidding. Here's a Bic pen. Is that a Bic pen? I don't know. Generic pen. You guys know the size of generic pen, right? I mean, it's a little bit bigger than the generic pen. Here's a chapstick. Like, the blade is just slightly longer than a chapstick. So, you know, what else do I have on me? I have a Jack Wolf on me. This is the new Javelina Jack. I'm sure you guys know Jack Wolves aren't big knives, right? Just under 3 inches, probably 2 3/4, something like that. Maybe sometimes they're around 3 inches. I mean, look at that. They are from handle, they're about the same exact length. And then your handle is 1/4 inch longer on the gripper. Which I'm guessing, you know, this is a slip joint, different mechanics might make a difference there, right? By the way, Troy absolutely crushed this slip. Could not be better. Love you, buddy. So it's a smaller knife is my goddamn point, okay? And that's a big deal to me. I like this size better. I would love a gripper in this size, which is, you know, this is basically a gripper with a tanto, right? And then a little, you know, different handle, but you get my point. So let's get into it. Aesthetically, I think this is cool as shit. Is it my kind of cool as shit? No. So, you know, don't jump on me here and say I'm full of shit. It's not my style, but it's cool. You know what I mean? I love the aggressive tanto, gives me Necronaut vibes. Love the Necronaut. It's always crazy when this edge is somehow the same length or longer than this one. Just really cool. If you haven't noticed yet, the hole is shaped like a goddamn coffin. Look at that. That is a coffin. An eye coffin. Now, is it the best hole to flick? We'll talk about that. But it works. So, you know. It's got the Brass Brigade kind of fraggish pattern going on. You have a flute or a faux bolster, whatever you want to call it. You have purple pivot collar, black hardware, and then a black wash blade. Now, the versions that are up for pre-order, I should have mentioned, this is now up for pre-order. Right now. Go get one if you like it. And the price, $250. He did what he could to bring the price down. He switched to S35VN, and he got this price down to $250. That's pretty good in my opinion. They have this version, and then there is a bead blast tie, I believe brass collar, and then acid washed blade, which also looks pretty cool. If I were to pick one up, I'd probably get this one though, because I'm more of a purple than a brass guy and more of a black wash than an acid wash guy. Will I pick one up? I don't know. I'm tempted to. I kind of want to do it, but I think, if I'm being honest, I mostly want to do it to support Jason, because this, again, is not really my style of knife. It's very tactical. That's kind of his style. And the gripper was the same way, but that one had the warning, so it spoke to me a little more, you know? So I don't know if I will, but I'm tempted to, even though it's not my style. I'm still tempted because I want to support a good dude, and because it's a really good knife, a really cool knife. It's hard for me to sit here and tell you guys how good a knife is and that it's recommendable to buy or pre-order and then not do it myself. And I struggle with that, and it's something I need to work on because I spend way too much money. I mean, I pre-order like everything that I touch because I love the people that I'm dealing with. I love these boutique brands and what they're doing, and it makes me want to support them. So that's something internally I need to work on, but anyway. It's got the gnarly tanto, the coffin, it's got the Brass Brigade frag pattern. It's got standoffs. That's where the standoffs in the S35 is how you're getting this down to $250, in my opinion. You have a milled clip, very simple, but it works really well. I've carried this for 2 or 3 days now, and it carries really well. I believe this is a very shallow hollow grind, but it could be a flat. Very hard to tell too. Oh man, it's so hard to tell. I think it's a very shallow hollow, but hard to tell. And then the front one is definitely a flat. Yeah, so I'm thinking shallow hollow, flat, and I'm guessing he's gonna try to get this deeper in production. Okay, so that's aesthetic. Oh, well, you have the flipper tab situation. Jimped. It's got the, what I would call the Jason Grant Brass Brigade flipper tab, where what he does that's different than a lot of companies, what you'll see from a lot of companies is the flipper tab comes off right here, and it's up to like here, right? And then you're up here pulling that. He kind of seats the flipper down. You see how it's down below this line? And you kind of get into the flipper tab and pull back. It's very interesting and unique, but it works. It works really well. So that's just something I've noticed that he does, and it's very aggressively jimped all around. And yeah, he listens to feedback. Everything is jimped up and around. Really well done. Ergos. So you do have a forward finger choil up here. And if you go into that choil, I get a very comfortable grip. Squeezing down, not feeling, I mean, I'm feeling the handle and everything. I'm getting a little bit, maybe, of a hot spot, like right in here. But I'm bearing down. Like, I don't ever do that. I hold it like this pretty light, and I cut Amazon boxes, paper, you know, whatever. I'm not doing anything crazy. So, yeah, if you were to bear down like crazy, you might feel some hot spots, because it's a small choil and there's like a step here, right? The clip feels pretty good. Let's try it right-handed. Same thing. Yeah, I get a little bit of a pinch right in here. But everything else feels really comfortable. The frag feels good. The clip is flat. Clip feels good. I mean, I enjoy it. You can hold it back here, but obviously it's 3 fingers back here. Maybe just climbing 4 on. I can get 4 on, but just barely. But I always will choke up if that's an option. And that's why I love knives with finger choils, because you can make them smaller and it doesn't matter, because I can choke up and now I have a full grip with extra hanging out on a small knife. Carry is great. The clip works phenomenal. It's lighter weight than a lot of knives. It's nicely milled out in there. On both sides there is milling. And it's titanium, obviously, so you're going to have pretty good weight on a smaller knife. I'd put it right around 3.5, maybe. 3.5 ounces, something like that. And it carries well. Didn't have any issues with the carry. It's not quite deep. You have a little bit sticking out. That's one of the downsides I always have with arcane design knives, usually. The Praytheon is an exception. But usually it's like this, where, you know, you have that top corner kind of sticking out, and here you have the same thing, right? You're going to have this much sticking out. But it didn't actually bother me at all in pocket. He could have, I guess, moved the clip to mount on this, excuse me, and angled it, but he wanted that straight line is my guess. And that straight line looks really good. It looks clean. So I get it, and it works great. So not complaining. I did not do much cutting. I did open an Amazon package, and I think I cut some paper and, you know, the usual stuff. I think you saw, oh, I just opened some Wee Civivi knives with it. And yeah, so it does the job. It has 2 tips, which is nice. So you're going to have that extra tip to not penetrate. And then you're going to have a very penetrating tip up here. Not going to be the most practical knife because of that, right? You know, but for EDC and whatnot, cool. For tactical purposes, I'm not your guy, but sure, probably work, right? We didn't talk about reverse grips, I guess, since it's tactical. Let's talk about it. Friday night gas station grip. You do have this kind of pokey point right here, but you can get pretty good. Yeah, this actually feels pretty good back here like this. If I roll it over this way, not so much at all. If I use the choil, which is kind of dumb on a knife if you're reverse gripping it, because you might be stabbing, in which case I'm sliding right on that edge. So I would stay back here. And yeah, this is a good grip. We're good. Clean carry sounds. They're fine. Nothing to write home about, but nothing bad. I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. Action / fidget factor. So one thing I want to note is the lock bar tension is a little bit stiff. The detent is good, which I like. But the lock bar feels a little stiffer than it needs to be. But it could be because it's a smaller knife and you're trying to get that tension to have a good detent, that's the trade-off. I will take that trade-off every single time. But I want to note it. It does feel a little bit stiff. to push this out of the way. It has a little bit of grab. I wouldn't call it stick. I just call it like when I can feel the lock bar gliding across the tang. That might break in. It might be my weather here because it seems to be a thing for me is lock stick. But it's good. I just want to point those two things out. The detent flipper, perfect. I mean, it fires out, locks up. It feels very satisfying. That's important. I want it to feel like I'm breaking that detent and it's coming out and it feels great. I love that. Front flipper, same thing. Just pops out again. So I don't know if I mentioned this thumb's a little jacked up. So jimping all up and around, pop, she flies out. Can I break it? Yeah, but like if I try it all, it pops really well. I did not mess around with reach arounds. I just don't think that's a great idea on a knife with a good detent. Yep, no. But front flip's good. Then you have the hole, obviously. Now, right-handed thumb flick, man, I don't know if I could do it. I haven't even tried. I can do it, but no, not really friendly. Can I pinch it out? No. But reverse flick into the coffin, yes. Coffin reverse flick is pretty good. Now, what I want to note is it's a flick out. It is not a flick up. If you try to flick this up, you can't. It's hard for me. It works, but it's hard, and it's because of that coffin shape, right? I'm trying to get in there. I don't have enough room. It's just harder. So it's more like an F5 flick where you put your finger in and push forward like that. Does that make sense? And it works great. That's one of my favorite ways to flick a knife. So I love it. It's kind of what some people would call the side flick, I guess. But that works great. Now, left-handed guys, it's not great left-handed for flicking. Now, the flipper, money, no problem. Front flipper, money, no problem. But the reverse flick, you got to be on this clip and get in there, and it can be done. A lot of you guys are way better at it than me, and you guys are okay adjusting to the knife and doing whatever you need to make it work. I'm the kind of guy who wants to pick the knife up and have it fire. So if I grab this, pick it up, and go to flick it, I just don't. I have to get on the clip, remember, and then I kind of slip out of the coffin shape. So I would not say this is good reverse flicking left-handed. Otherwise, works great. Right-hand reverse flick is money if you do the side flick. I love it. I've been doing it all day. Freaking enjoy it. But you're not going to do the straight up and down kind of flick very easily. It can be done. But I would maybe see about having the edges be a little sharper. Because it was black washed, they coated it and then tumbled it, and that knocks all those corners down. And it has a good detent, so, you know, you add all those things together and you end up with a side flicker. So anyway, closing action. Again, that lock bar's a little stiff, but she pops down, shake down. I mean, it's not a guillotine, like it's not just gonna fall down. It's on bearings, but my guess is the more you use it, the more that track will break in, the better it gets. The way I've been closing it is I kind of go to the top, push, it hits my finger, the flipper tab, but it's past the detent, and then I shake it down. You can also just do it like a normal person and close it. You can try to get it to drop all the way, whatever you want to do. Dead centered, all that good stuff. So there it is, guys. The Grant Tripper, and it's up for pre-order right now if you're interested. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Hopefully Jason watches this and hits your comments. Jason, thank you, dude. Always appreciate you looking out and letting me check your stuff out, dude. And guys, 250 bucks. 250 bones for this guy. In a world where most of us are opening Amazon packages, S35EN is fantastic. 250 instead of 350. Like, why would, you know, I get it. It's a smart move. So, if this catches your eye If you have always wanted a knife with a coffin hole, I mean, what? It's a freaking coffin hole. If you've ever wanted that, here it is. Pick one up. All right. OEM is best tech. I think I said that earlier, but just wanted to say it again. I love you guys. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. And I will catch you later.